Hello everybody, this is Sandy and I am Michael Persley's wife. I am going to introduce him so that he can do his persuasion speech.
Hi there, thank you. That's right, it's Michael Persley again. And I was wondering if any of you recycle. Well, of course you do. I'm sure that if not all of you, most of you do. Many people recycle. You know, we recycle our plastic, our cans, our paper, our cardboard. We recycle all kinds of things. And I want to talk about that just a little bit, but that's not the focus of my speech today. You know, we do water bottles, and we recycle those water bottles, and that's great. But here's something to consider. Why not, instead of continuing to buy plastic water bottles, why not use a reusable water bottle? Something that will stay out of the landfill forever, maybe, or at least for a long time. So that's just something to consider. And you're probably wondering why I'm wearing this Hawaiian shirt in the dead of summer. And it's 30 some odd degrees here in Austin, Texas. Well, I'll get back to that later. So back to the landfills. According to postcom.org, landfills have reduced in number by about 79% since 1988. And yet capacity in the state of Wisconsin grew by 44.5 million cubic yards, even though they closed down 850 landfills. And this is due to three reasons: consolidation, recovery, and technology. Does that mean we want to fill up those landfills? By no means. And here's some numbers you might want to think about. And here's my theme: reduce, reuse, recycle. According to the University of Southern Indiana, about a third of an average dump is made up of packaging. Americans on average throw out over 1,200 pounds of organic garbage annually. The U.S. is the #1 trash producer in the world. And what this translates to is that 5% of the world's population contributes to 40% of the world's waste. We don't want to be #1 in that. Of every $10 retail dollar spent, $1 is for packaging that gets thrown away. And finally, this number I found intriguing. On average, it costs $30 per ton to recycle trash, $50 to send it to the landfill, and $65 to $75 per ton to incinerate it. That's quite a vast difference. That's double the cost of recycling and to take it to the landfill. And here's something that older generations never had to think about, but we certainly do now, and future generations do too. DoSomething.org lists facts about e-waste, a word we never even considered growing up. But here's some facts. 80 to 85% of electronics are discarded in landfills. E-waste represents only 2% of America's trash, but equals 70% of overall toxic waste. 20 to 50 million metric tons of e-waste are disposed of worldwide every year. Americans dump phones containing over $60 million in gold and silver every year. Makes you want to think about maybe hanging around at the dump for a little while, doesn't it? And only 12.5% of e-waste is currently recycled. Yet, e-waste is the fastest growing municipal waste stream in America. And here's a number that will make you think about throwing things in the trash. It takes 539 pounds of fossil fuel, 48 pounds of chemicals, and 1.5 tons of water to manufacture just one computer and one monitor. Staggering numbers, aren't they? So what does that mean? Well, we live in a throwaway world. Not just our society, but the entire world. Sure, we can recycle our plastic, our bottles, our cans, and our papers, and I'm sure we're all doing a great job of doing that. But what about the other items that we live with and use every day? What about our furniture, our dishes, our lamps, our clothing, jewelry, art? What happens with all of that when we no longer want it? Well, here's an idea. let's go back to my shirt. We were wondering, well, why would he be wearing a Hawaiian shirt when it's 30 degrees outside? Well, that's my point. This shirt came from a consignment shop. I don't know if you recall what Sandy was wearing when she introduced me, but her items came from a consignment shop also. Sandy. So if you look at her top, her earrings and her necklace, they all came from a resale shop. The blouse, you ladies will be interested in knowing, is a Chico's brand. And the necklace is I'm going to say Lois Lane, and I know that's not right, it's Lois Hill. So those of you that know those kinds of brands, this is something that was bought at a resale shop for less than half of what retail is. Probably, the blouse probably $6 or $8, you know, if that. So again, something to think about. Thank you, Sandy. So for the reasons above, listened about, you know, the cost of buying things at resale, but also, you know, the staggering numbers about our landfills. Consigning and reselling is gaining popularity across America. And here's some tangible reasons. According to the Association of Professional Resellers, number one, it keeps usable items out of landfills. Number two, consigners add a new income stream to their respective households, which in turn stimulates local economy. And three, buyers get great bargains. So specifically, how does consigning work? So as you know, I'm the general manager of a consignment resale shop. So here's what you do. You take your gently used items, household items, pots and pans, dishes, flatware, glassware, art, your clothing, your furniture, and you take it to the resale shop. At Next to New, we are a 50-50 split shop. So that means if I sell something for you for $100, you get $50 and the shop gets $50. Now if you recall in some previous posts, the Next to New shop is a community outreach for St. David's Episcopal Church. So what that means is this. Last year, from our net profits, we gave the church $209,000. Half of that went to the church for restoration. The other half went to the community outreach. So the church was built in 1853. So $100,000 or a little over went to help restore that. The $100,000 community outreach was given out in 10 $10,000 grants last year. Since the inception of the store in 1959, that's almost $4 million. But you know, we talked about the consigners earlier. What about them? On average, the shop gives back $30,000 a month to the consigners, $360,000 a year. So add that to $209,000, that's almost $750,000 given back into the local economy. You just can't beat it. So here's the thing. Reducing, reusing, and recycling, and the process of consigning and reselling can do many things. Help keep the landfills clear of useful items, help stimulate the local economy, and conceivably help the needy in your community. So what can we do? Stop using bottled water. Take reusable bottles. Take your electronics to organizations that refurbish them and send them to developing nations. In Austin, we have a Goodwill store that's dedicated to refurbishing electronics. Push manufacturers to use less packaging in their products. Do we really need that much? Consign unwanted, gently used items. Find one, if you can, find a nonprofit, because while you're helping yourself, keeping landfills clean, you could possibly be also helping your neighbors. And finally, buy at a consignment shop. You know, we complain that they just don't make things the way they used to anymore. Well, those things are found at consignment shops. Thank you very much.